Councilmember Chavez.
Here.
Councilmember Vizcarra.
Here.
Councilmember Hughes absent. Mayor Pro Tem Mann.
Here.
Mayor Sternquist.
Here.
Motion to excuse Councilmember Yu for cause.
Second.
Any objections? So moved. Okay, we move to item 3, our invocation. I'd like to welcome Jerry Jambazian, owner of Wonder Cleaners and Draperies, located at 9136 Las Tunas Drive. Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's come before God. God, we come before you with gratitude. We thank you for being a God of love who is with us now and in this very room. You never leave us or forsake us. Your grace has brought us safe thus far, and your grace will lead us in the future. We thank you for making each of us in this room, every person we meet, every citizen of this city in your own image, with dignity and infinite worth. We thank you for the calling you have given every one of us to be good stewards of your creation, to love our neighbors as ourselves. I thank you tonight, God, for these, your servants, our mayor, our city manager, our city staff, and our city council members. I give thanks for the way of service they have chosen to take up on behalf of all of us here. We all come from this room tonight as complete human beings, complex human beings, carrying burdens, carrying joy and hope, trusting that you alone can hold us together in your love and peace. Help us, Lord, to trust you more than our fears, our wounds, and even our accomplishments. May we lean on you tonight and in the future. And so we pray that you would be glorified tonight through the decisions of this city council. We pray that we would have the eyes to see how our lives are all connected and how common good is upheld when we listen and respond to those most vulnerable among us. We pray for wisdom, for strength, for courage to do what is right and good for all citizens. May we put the interest of others above our own. May we act with love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here. Lord, we pray for the people of Turkey and of Syria as they recover from this devastating earthquake. We especially pray for the 80 Los Angeles County members of the elite search and rescue team who have deployed there going to be deployed there for 2 weeks. Please protect them. We thank you again for this council, our mayor, our city staff, and our first responders, our sheriffs, our firefighters, our hospital staff, and all those who work to make Temple City such a wonderful city. We ask this all in your name and for your glory. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jerry. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on, no ceremonial items this evening. Do we have any public comment other than on,
Madam Mayor, as we're going to public comment, it would be a good time for me to report on closed session.
I'm sorry.
No, that's just fine, ma'am. Thank you so much. The council did meet in closed session on one item of potential litigation, and they did conference with the labor negotiator. They were briefed on both items, but no reportable action was taken, and closed session adjourned at 7:11 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we move to item 6, public comments on items not listed on the agenda. Do we have any? of these? We have. Peter. When did you come in? I didn't see you a minute ago.
Sneaking in.
Welcome.
Citizen role. So I'm here now. Okay. Good evening, Mayor Sternquist, City Council, everyone else. I'm Peter Choi. Normally I'm here representing the Chamber of Commerce, but as many know, I am no longer in that role. So I'm really just here as a stakeholder And really I came by because I haven't had the opportunity to simply say au revoirs and just say, express my feelings to the council. I was on furlough since December 2nd, and as of January 20th, the board and I reached an amicable exit package. So I am now the former chamber president, and I haven't really had the opportunity to say my farewells, and so I'm here tonight to do so, and I'll do it very quickly. A little over a decade ago, I started my first day on this job, the Monday after the Santa Ana windstorm, and 5 minutes after I arrived here, I was sitting next to our then mayor, Tom Chavez, in an emergency meeting, which is how I met all the department heads, et cetera. That was the beginning. But I'm certainly proud of everything we have accomplished in the past 10 years. 10 years ago, building bridges to the Asian business community was a priority. That's where we were, and that's where the chamber was trying to head to. And I'm glad to say that after a decade, we didn't just build bridges, but we're all walking on the same street. And that's terrific, and it's no small thing. And I thank everyone who helped there. Certainly, even all our new members in the last 6 months have all been Asians. So it's like Andy Lee at CTBC Bank, Ken Wu with the Temple City Adult Education, Ken Lee with Pacific Plaza Premier Development Group, Serena Han at eHome Appliances, Dr. Ethan Park, Camellia Dentistry. I'm very excited that our chamber represents the community, not just in our membership, but in our board. We have a very diverse, multicultural board of varying ages. It's a great input for issues that come up, and I'm very proud of that. We also moved our office to our current location. Thank you very much to the city for both locations. Made my job so easy, made the work of the chamber able to really step up. So thank you for 9050 Las Tunas, and thank you for this office. Thank you to Brian Cook and the city staff for their help every step of the way, but especially during the move and all that. Love our office, but thank you very much to the city for those resources. We, of course, modernize and digitize the chamber operation. Our e-newsletter is very popular. In fact, I'm most proud of our work during the COVID pandemic, when we helped keep small businesses open with our biweekly, sometimes daily e-newsletters. And I remember, Councilmember Chavez, you said something very kind about our e-newsletters, that you were reading them. And certainly, often you don't hear from chamber members after events or promotions or things, but we heard from them through the pandemic. And not just to ask for help, but to say thanks for the e-newsletter. I know that our newly elected assembly member, Mike Fong, told me that he read it every time it comes out because it's accurate and up to date. And it's a reminder that during the pandemic, the information was changing almost every day. You could go to the hair salon. You can't go to the hair salon. You could go to the hair salon if you wear a mask. No, you can't go anymore. Plastic shields, no plastic shields, those wild, woolly days. And I'm very proud, and it was a lot of work, a lot of reading, and I want to thank our former staff, Fawn Mack, not for her tremendous work during the pandemic, but also her service to the chamber for the 5 years she was with here, and she was a tremendous help to me. And I've heard from her the other day, and she's doing great. In closing again, thank you for this time, but I just wanted to stop by and express my gratitude to Mayor Sternquist and the City Council for your kindness, your respect, your generosity to me during my time leading this very important community organization. Councilmember Chavez, when I arrived to my dark office the Monday after the Santa windstorm, there was nobody there, nothing was set up, and the only thing in my office was a little note card from Mayor Chavez welcoming me to the city. I have never forgotten it. I've mentioned it before, but really it meant so much. And I know you are prone to writing note cards. It means so much when you get one. So I encourage you to do so. Certainly it meant a lot to me. 11 years later, I still remember it. And thank you again for your very kind email back in December upon my departure from this office. I didn't have a chance to thank you, and I'm thanking you personally.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And my best to your wife, Jane, who of course served as our board chair. Councilmember Vizcarra. Donna says hello. Just first of all.
Give her my best.
And you were, I remember, and you may not know this, but you were my first visitor at the chamber office. you came by to do some business, and I spoke with you, and I was like stunned. The city council member was here in the office, the first visitor, and we had a conversation about the empty dirt lot across the street that is now Camellia Square. I'm very proud of the Chamber's efforts, certainly, to help that project under all its names, including going to China to talk to investors with our then board chair, Nick Pon. So, you know, great there. Councilmember Mann, it's been my pleasure serving with you on the board. I wish you the best of luck in your search for my replacement, as it were, or I should say, not even my replacement, but for the next chamber leader. And I wish you and, you know, Planning Commissioner Jeffrey Lee and our board chair, Melissa DeMurci, I understand you're running the reins there, but all the board, all your efforts together, and I'm sure with everyone here, we look forward to hearing, you know, good news about that. But thank you, and it's been great. And Mayor Sternquist, Councilmember Yu is not here. I was going to say so much about him. I'll simply say for the record, Councilmember Yu, in absentia, I admire your vision for the city so much and your dedication, which is an inspiration to anyone taking a public role, that you want to leave things better, that you want to leave things improved, and that you want to make your time count. And Councilmember Yu, you've really exemplified that, and I personally have been very inspired by that. And I regret that he's not here. Mayor Sternquist, Donna also says hello. And it's been my pleasure to know you. I'll never forget when you were a city council liaison and we were planning our gala and you came in with a gift certificate from the local spa that had just opened. And after all the jokes about happy endings, we realized this was a fantastic gift because the best raffle prize is the one you want to win. And the reason I mentioned that is because it exemplifies, I think, your greatest trait, which is your generosity of your time, but really it's your generosity of your spirit. I think that really marks who you are. I don't think anybody here would disagree, not just here in the city council, but out in the community, sitting next to you at a lunch. It's your generosity of spirit, of humor, that really, I think, I will remember. And Donna certainly remembers, and again, sends her regards to all of you that she knows, but Mayor Sternquist, I want to thank you all. So in closing, Tom, William, Cindy, Vince, Fern, thank you very much, again, for your kindness to me during my time here, your respect and your generosity. And I have learned in life that the world is very small. And so I look forward to seeing you when our paths cross again, today or next month or in the future, and having a laugh and being able to be loose as a goose and not have to be so buttoned down representing an organization. It's just me, Peter Choi, saying thank you to Temple City and the City Council. I've enjoyed my time here in the chambers, and I came by simply to say, merci beaucoup, thank you, gracias, etc. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Peter. I just want to let the council know is that I did reach out to Melissa, and she, I believe, sent you an email saying that we're trying to get a date where the council and the chamber members can get together because we would like to have a lunch with you to celebrate. And that was just a discussion we had last week. So hopefully you'll be looking, that email should be coming, but it's something we've all talked about that we would like to do.
Sure, I'll sit back and enjoy it because I ain't planning jack at the chamber anymore.
Yes.
This is how loose I am. But seriously, I look forward to it, and Melissa's fantastic, and great. But meanwhile,
Well, we want to thank you.
call me. We can go to lunch,
Okay.
and then we can talk.
Well, we're going to have lunch together at a time that's mutually agreeable for both of
Sure.
us. So.
What I told Melissa was, you know what? Take your time and focus on, the applicant search. But yeah, thank you. That would be great. We look forward to it. And again,
And bring Donna, of course.
Yes, of course, my better half and the secret to my success.
Well, we want to thank you so much for your service, and I know I speak on behalf of all my colleagues that we, 10 years, was it?
It's a decade.
10
yeah.
years. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a long time. That's a long time to be engaged in this community and know the people and the business owners, and we thank you.
Yeah, well, certainly, thank you. And Temple City will always have a special place in my psyche. And now, I always said, if you see me around town, It's 100% about the chamber. There's no conflict of interest. It's why I'm here. From this point on, if you see me around town, it's simply socializing with friends, and you're welcome to sit at our table and join us.
Thank you,
As
Peter.
I've done luxuriously for the last 2 months. So thank you again, Mayor.
So they will have opportunity to share their thanks with you when we get together soon.
And a shout out to City Clerk Peggy Ko. Thank you for your kind email. Thank you. And thank you again to Brian Cook, our city manager. It's been great engaging with you. And, thanks, Brian.
Okay,
Right.
thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, Steve,
See you soon.
staff heard? Thank you.
Mayor Sternquist, Mayor Pro Tempore Mans, City Council members, city staff, it came to my attention last week that they're closing the CVS drugstore on Rosemead Boulevard now. And it kind of concerns me, that's two drugstores and pharmacies we've lost in the last 5 months. More vacant space. And it's just very concerning because who's to say next month that Walgreens doesn't turn around and close? I mean, to see two of them close, that scares me. That's more places for the homeless to hang out as well, and they will hang out there. And we need to come up with a plan for this city on what can go in those two spaces. We've got Rite Aid empty, and now we've got CVS. March 1st, they're gone. And I'd just like to see a plan for the city and a plan for those two places of what's going to go in there and make sure that it brings in the tax revenue we need to survive as a city. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Jing Lee? Welcome, Jing.
Good evening, Mayor Sternquist and City Council. This is Jean Lee from Temple City Library. I'm here to talk, to give you updates on our library programs. So this month's art activity for the children, for the school-age kids, will be held on Wednesday, February 22nd, from 3 to 4 p.m. The kids will learn about the science of catapults and then make their own sample by using craft sticks. On March 3rd, from 4 to 5, which is a Friday, we'll have a jewelry making program for teens. So they can design and create wonderful jewelry pieces. Either they can wear on their own or they can give the gift to somebody else. So all material will be provided. And I don't know whether you're aware or not, Rosemead Library currently is closed for facility improvement. So they have a teen culture club hosted by the Asia Pacific Resource Center. So since they're closed, so they're going to move their program to Temple City Library. So the Teen Culture Club is meet bi-monthly, and it's a welcoming space for the teen to meet together, to share, talk about culture, and then they can earn volunteer hours by attending the programs. So this Friday, they're going to have Japanese, kusudama flower making. I hope I sounded right. Kusudama. And then for February 24th, they actually going to able to sample different snacks from the Philippines. So they can eat the snacks and then talk about, get the introduction about the culture and the history for that area. And all the teen program is open for teen age 13 to 17. And because the library program, the attendance is limited, the space is limited, so advanced registration is highly recommended. I'm also very excited to announce, I think about 2 months ago, the City Council just recognized our bookmark contest. We actually have a winner for the 5th district, and her name is Victoria Wang. I believe she goes to Cleverly Elementary School. So she won the category for 3rd grade to 5th grade. And thanks, Peggy and Julianne, be our judge. You guys made a very good choice. And so she's our 5th district winner. And for more information, please visit our website, LA County Library.org. or you can always give us a call at 626-285-2136. Thank you.
Thank you, Jing. Okay, I'm not sure of the first name, but Mr. Gomez? Welcome. What is your first name, sir? Chile. Oh, I thought that's what it said, but okay, I wanted to be sure.
I hope everyone's doing well tonight. I really just have 2 questions for the council. I was wondering.
Could you speak
Pick
into
up
the
your
speaker?
microphone. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry. I just had 2 questions for the council. I was wondering how I could possibly find out about who's my representative and what district do I live in. And also, I live right here off of Golden West and Wedgwood, in between Live Oak and Broadway. Aside from that, I noticed in my area, in particular, I guess from maybe Olive all the way to Garibaldi, I noticed that you guys are repaving the streets, and I was just wondering if there was an update or what could I do to get my street repaved.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I will have Mr. Cook reach out to you. He can give you a list, or Peggy, I have your information. Give it to our city clerk, and she can give you the information of all the representatives, Assembly, Senate, and everything. And you're in the 5th district for county. Okay. And Mr. Cook definitely has the what would you call it, the ledger or legend of what streets are being done and when, so he can reach out to you also and let you know.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's it, unless there's...
He's my neighbor,
He's your neighbor.
right around the corner.
He'll give you his address where you can go knock on his door and talk to him too while you're at it. Okay. If there's no more public comment, I'm going to close public comment. We move to item 7, the consent calendar. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve consent calendar?
Second?
Any objections? Okay, so moved. May we have a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Vizcarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes. Okay, that's been moved and approved unanimously. We move to, what number? My thing is out of order here. Item 8, a public hearing, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 23-1069, Series C, Code Amendments of Title 9, Zoning Regulations, Chapter 1, Zoning Code, and an amendment of the General Plan Land Use Element to clarify mixed-use and residential densities. And we are going to
Mayor
have
Sternquist?
Mr. Cook briefly introduce this.
Thank you, Mayor Sternquist. Staff is requesting that this item and the public hearing be continued to the next council meeting of February 21st. But since this was a published public hearing, we ask that you open for any public comments, that any member of the public who wishing to come tonight to speak on the item do so, and then we'll close that, and we would then ask for your continuing this item to February 21st. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone who came to speak on item 8, public hearing? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, and then do we have a motion? Greg,
Make a
need
motion that we continue the public hearing to the next city council meeting on February 21st, 2023. Greg, do we need to recite item 3 as well?
No, not tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any objections? Hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Vizcarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes. Okay. Item 9, unfinished business, none. New business, item 10.
Mayor Sternquist,
had
item
a-
8B.
What happened to B?
We have item B.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's just a mess this evening. My papers are all, can someone read item B? They're all mixed up.
Sure. Item 8B is establishment of an expedited, non-discretionary multifamily review process and a library of prototype architectural designs for multifamily projects. Mayor Sternquist, if I
Thank
could,
you.
may I?
Yes.
Continue. Thank you, Mayor Sternquist. This item is also asked, staff is also asking for this item to be continued, but that is continued to a date uncertain at this point in time. But because this has been a item that was continued from earlier from 2022, we ask that you open up the public hearing for any public comments, and if any member of the public would like to address the council related to this item, and then close that, and then continue that to a meeting uncertain at this point.
Okay, do we have anybody wishing to speak on that? Okay, if not, I'm going to close public hearing on that, and then we need another motion, please.
Yes, please.
Make a motion to continue the public hearing to another city council meeting to a date uncertain. I'm going to try to use that on the next judge that I'm in front of.
Second.
See what he says.
Do we have a
He seconded.
second? Okay, any objections? All right, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Viscara?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes.
And for the record, when we do continue to a date uncertain, that means that we will need to publish new notice for that. So the public will get notice, as we normally do for public hearings prior to the next time it comes to all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. No unfinished business. We move to new business, item 10, consultant services contract award to SWA Landscape Architects for playground renovations at Live Oak Park and Temple City Park. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor Sternquist and members of the council. This is an item that is definitely not uncertain, nor will it be continued. We are quite excited to bring forward to you a consulting contract with SWA Consultants for playground renovations at Live Oak Park and Temple City Park. If the council remembers, in early last year, we went through a discussion on ARPA funding. This was one of the items that was identified as an ARPA-funded project. Tonight, what you have before you, and Mr. Matsumoto will go over it in a little more detail, is two phases. One, the first is the conceptual phase, to actually draw up the plans, do the community outreach, and Mr. Matsumoto will go over that. Second would be the actual construction phase. The reason why we broke that up is, one, we want to give the council the opportunity to look at some options going forward. The range of the budget that we're thinking about with those ARPA funds is anywhere between $1.2 to $1.7 million. The council talked about a round number of about $2 million for all of this, which, and if you think of Primrose Park and what we've done to make our few parks in the city landmark, destination locations, destinations for families, bringing on a consulting firm like SWA, who you'll see some of their projects, really is in concert with the design-driven focus, community-driven focus we've had in these designs going forward. So this is I'm excited because this is one of our ARPA-funded projects that the council discussed. You know, and that's why you're seeing this kind of broken up, why you don't see a total project budget yet, but the council did discuss in about the $2 million range total. So capital cost will be around between $1.2 to $1.7 million in that range. So with that, Mayor Sternquist, if it's okay, I will turn it over to Mr. Matsumoto. Go ahead, sir.
Madam?
Thank you to our city manager, Brian Cook. Good evening, Mayor Sternquist and members of the city council. I'll provide just a quick project background for the playground renovation contract services that we're looking to award tonight. As City Manager Cook had mentioned, with the success of Primrose Park, we really were driven by a design-led project focus. Primrose Park has been incredibly well received. We've had so many positive comments from the community, other agencies, and we really hope to replicate the custom design features of Primrose Park through the award of this contract for both playground areas at Live Oak Park and at Temple City Park. In terms of the project scope of the work, we are looking at those two locations. So first would be Live Oak Park. The general footprint of that is just under 14,000 square feet. We're looking at renovating the playground, looking at shade structures, surfacing, and exercise equipment. Over at Temple City Park, just over 3,000 square feet would include the playground, the adjacent shade structure, surfacing, and the adjacent picnic shelter. The city had received 4 proposals when we submitted an RFP for the playground renovation project. Those 4 firms were Architera, BMLA, RHA, and then SWA. You can see the criteria that we graded each one of the proposals on, and we really did have an emphasis on design as being at the forefront of the proposals that were submitted. SWA landscape architects, they do have an extensive history in the landscape architect and design profession. Over 60 years, they've worked with many local municipalities in the Southern California region, as well as having, as I had mentioned before, a really design-centric approach to their projects. We do have the principal, Ing-Yu Hung, present from SWA, as well as our project manager for, if awarded, an associate, Ryan McKay, here as well, in support of the project and to also answer any questions the council may have regarding the proposal. We wanted to highlight some of the recent projects that have been completed by SWA. This is a project in the city of Hawthorne. We have Canvas Park in Ontario, the city of San Ramon. This is a in-progress project for the city of Manhattan Beach. And then we have one concept design phase for the city of Linwood. You know, all of these projects, I think, really reflect the custom nature and design of the projects SWA is able to create. And not only just design, but you'll, as in the earlier examples, actually being brought to life, going from paper to an actual project. These are the reasons why SWA really stood out amongst the proposals as to the best fit, we think, for Temple City and for our 2 parks. In terms of the project timeline, we are able to have some specificity with the beginning portions of that. So project initiation, which would be meeting with SWA, doing site and survey, and then concept design development would be roughly 15 weeks, and that would be phase 1 that we're looking at. Phase 2 is going to be the construction document creation, and then building assistance and construction admin. So that's the construction phase of that. Really, that's to be determined at this point. Depending upon the scope of the concept design that's chosen, we'll come back to the City Council with a more defined timeline regarding the construction portion of the project. But we're a little early for projecting out potentially what that timeline would look right now. Rough ballpark, we wouldn't expect to see the playground project construction phase last more than a year, you know, and even shorter than that, hopefully. But there's a lot of unknown factors at this time to really determine that at this point. In terms of the project budget, what we're looking at requesting and making a recommendation for is approving a total allotment of $236,000 for phase 1 and phase 2, but at tonight's meeting awarding $84,000 as a phase 1 award. Again, once we complete phase 1 of the project, we'll have a better understanding of the scope of the project based on the concept designs that have been chosen and refined by SWA with input from the community and the City Council.
Adam,
Yes,
this is all Live Oak.
both locations.
Oh,
So this
okay.
would be at Live Oak Park and at Temple City Park. The project would be run concurrently, so we would be looking at doing both of those at the same time. For the city staff recommendation, we are looking at requesting the award of the consultant services, the SWA Landscape, and authorize the city manager to execute that agreement as the form by the city attorney. So if you when you took a look at the staff report, you'll notice some highlighted sections in the agreement portion of the attachments. We're just working through some legalese between the city attorney and SWA. We didn't want that to hold up the approval of that agreement. It's a similar process that we followed when we approved the partnership with the Almonte City School District, and we're taking that same approach for this project. The second recommendation would be to approve the budget amendment of $236,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act, so ARPA funding, and specifically award $840,000 of that tonight as phase 1. And then third, it would be the CEQA finding that we are now processing as part of all of our recommendations. So finding that the project is not subject to CEQA review pursuant to 15302B, which the exemption would be that it's an existing facility and we're not changing any of its use. And it's just basically a renovation of that existing facility.
Adam, I know that the amount of soils testing is insignificant, but doesn't that kind of go along with CEQA? I mean, why are you required to do that if it's already existing?
I can help with that. The award of this contract doesn't require CEQA. As they do the soils testing, when it's time to award the contract to actually change out the equipment, there will be digging then, and your CEQA analysis may be different at that point.
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
That would conclude my staff report and presentation. Again, I am here to answer any questions the council may have, or SWA as well, if you have more specific questions regarding the proposal. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Sparrow, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes, thank you. Adam, so this doesn't include the picnic shelters at Live Oak Park then, correct?
Not at Live Oak Park, no.
Okay.
This is only for the Temple City Park picnic shelter.
Right. And the handball courts at Live Oak Park aren't a part of this as well?
It is not.
Okay. Now, so that leads to my last question, and that is, I'm assuming that both of these projects will basically take the same footprint as what's currently there now?
Correct. Both projects, at least at this point of the project, would basically exist in its current footprint. There might be some slight adjustments. When we took a look at it, we may need to take a look at some grading or resolve some grading issues with drainage and things like that.
Okay.
But roughly, it would be the existing footprint.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yep.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Will the track at Live Oak disappear?
No, it will not. The track will still be maintained, and it does not fall within the scope of this project to take away or remove. So that would be a maintained amenity for the Live Oak Park.
Yes. Mayor
For-
Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. For the project examples listed by SWA, is there any of them that's similar in size and scale to either Live Oak Park or Temple City Park? Just out of curiosity.
I'm trying to. We're having some technical difficulty. I was going to move back a little bit. There are some parks that were, I guess, smaller in scope and scale. SWA could probably provide a little bit more context, but one of the first parks that we took a look at was the city of Hawthorne. Okay. And this was I believe, a renovation project as well of an existing park facility. So the focus not only was the playground, but it did incorporate the landscaping as well as part of the park. But this would be an example of a renovation project that they had completed. Canvas Park had elements that were similar of size if you look at the playground area, but that was part of a larger, I believe it was a housing development that incorporated other components and features of that. Manhattan Beach, the Polywog Park, I believe, again, is a renovation project. So that is an existing site and facility that they're currently in construction, I believe. for these concept designs that were created for the city of Manhattan Beach. So these would probably be the closest recent examples of similar sized projects and also of renovation projects.
And I think I lost my second question. I guess in general, maybe it's too early to have an answer to this, but I'm assuming because they're two separate sites that the design for both is not necessarily intertwined. They'll be kind of looked at as two separate projects.
We are looking at it as two separate projects. Now, based off of community input and what type of feedback we hear, I think at this point it's open-ended. It could be two distinct designs and themes. Let's say Temple City Park may fall in line with replicating some sort of theme with the existing Performing Arts Pavilion because that's iconic as part of Temple City Park. And Live Oak Park may take a different direction or theme based off of other input. I know I've heard personally a lot of nostalgia related to the old rocket ship at Live Oak Park, and maybe that's a design cue that's taken there. Or maybe it's a play off of the two of them, and maybe Primrose Park. Maybe they all have outdoor garden floral type of designs, but I think that's really going to be dictated, one, during the community outreach phase, and potentially input that we receive from our commission and council as well. So I think at this point it's a maybe. We're at a point where we can take different approaches, so nothing's off the table right now.
Okay. And my last question is maybe just to clarify what Mr. Cook said earlier. So really what's before us tonight is potentially awarding and budgeting for the consultant services. And then you alluded to the construction cost would obviously depend on what comes out of the design.
That's
and
correct.
then that would come at a later date.
That would come at a later date, but just to have in your mind, what you discussed during the ARPA discussion before was about $2 million or so. So thinking along the lines about 1.2 to 1.7 million would be probably the range we're looking at. But again, that will be driven ultimately by the design and everything else that SWA and staff come up with, and presenting you with what would be the final design, everything else similar to the process we did with Primrose Park, and then getting the engineer's estimate and the estimate by SWA as well to go out to bid with.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Adam, you mentioned the commissioners, our Parks and Rec commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
So at what stage and when would they be engaged?
So that would be prior to the city council. It would be similar to what we had done with Primrose as the most recent example. Typically what we'll do is we'll go out for community outreach initially. We'll collect some, the collective highlights from what the community is providing feedback on. We would take that to the Parks and Recreation Commission for initial review, and they would provide some recommendations. And then the ultimate approval and review and approval would be by City Council. It's not set in stone. If there's something that Council would like us to take a look at in terms of timing, or maybe Council being brought in at an earlier stage, we can take a look at that as well.
Okay. Mr. Cook and I attended a women's club meeting a week ago, and the rocket came up again, and I believe it was, we did say we would pass that information on.
Yes.
But I think realistically, we all agree that that's probably not the best thing to go into a new park, but maybe because it seems to have such an important impact, especially on our seniors, because this came from the senior group on aging that we have in place. And I guess that's where the theme came up again. Is there anything you can do to bring back the rocket ship? So when I saw that, what is the, there you go. You know, somehow, if there's some significant piece that could be a future rocket, or something. I mean, just to have it considered, because we did say we would bring that back to just let you know. But yeah, I am excuse me, thrilled that the concepts are beautiful, and of course, when I'm looking at them, I love the dramatic. I mean, you get the most bang for your buck when you can look at something and then physically touch it and climb on it. So it's almost like a meal. If it looks like, wow, you know, it makes the experience all the more better. So you have a task in front of you. But if this is awarded. But I just want to say that I'm thrilled that we are moving forward at this point in time. And I'm looking at the city of Linwood just on the bottom right. We were already on that one. But there are just rockets, ships incorporated into, if you could see them on the bottom there on the wall. And I think they just want some remembrance of what that meant to so many children growing up in Temple City.
The rocket ship we had has no, doesn't look anything like that.
Not at all. But actually, even the rocket ships of today are more like a needle than the ones that are even on the on that.
And if I remember, the reason that rocket ship was taken down is because it was a death trap, basically, and it's never going back up. But I agree with you that, you know, I know people do ask about that kind of theme. So if we could incorporate something that's safer into the outcome, that's
and
probably,
it doesn't
But it
necessarily like this
maintains the
isn't a
spirit.
climbing.
yeah, it maintains the spirit, but
the
not the
spirit.
liabilities.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, we did say we'd let you know about that.
Definitely. Yes, we're highly confident in SWA's ability to, you know, reimagine some of those nostalgia type features or important to the community features or themes and have that as a either design component or a portion of the new playgrounds that will exist.
So if we could bring the past to the future,
There you
I think
go.
that's what we're looking to. Fernando?
No, I was just going to say, timelines, do we have any?
So the first phase, we're looking at approximately 15 weeks, which would encompass the community outreach and the development of the concept design. After that, it's roughly a month and a half to work on the construction.
Do you have that slide, Adam? Can
Sure.
we go back to that?
Roughly 6 weeks for the creation of the construction documents. And then that would be when we're also doing cost estimates for construction phase. And then the latter part, the construction phase, is just our unknown timeline and budget at this point. But we would come back again before we take any steps forward, you know, once we get some of those estimates clarified and timelines.
Okay, any other questions from council? All right, I'm going to open the public comment. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this? Okay, I'm going to close public comment, and any final comments from council?
Mayor, if I could say one more thing. So I guess two points. Well, first of all, I'm excited about this. It's great to see something very tangible in front of us. We've talked about what's the best use of ARPA funds. We've also, for the longest time, talked about how both parks are in need of some touching up. And so this is very exciting. This is kind of related to Councilmember Chavez's earlier question about the footprint that this is going to impact. If there is flexibility within what the current scope is, my comment would be to maybe not restrict ourselves to that if there's room to explore. I'm not talking about like significant deviations, but if there's room to explore that doesn't severely impact any of the other parts of the park, I would like to see that. Perhaps that doesn't, I don't want SWA to be limited. If they have a great idea that will take up, you know, a little bit of extra space, and in-house we decide that that's actually worth the effort. So I kind of want to emphasize that flexibility. Second, the other reason I asked about the design of the two parks as separate entities, I'm looking ahead towards construction. because we know Temple City Park is much smaller than Live Oak Park, so I don't know if the complexities with the construction level is going to be different. I would hate to see the complexity of one slow down the development of the other. So one hypothetical is, let's say there's other things at Live Oak Park that's going to take a lot more time, but if Temple City Park can actually move ahead with construction, is that a possibility for us to kind of look at it that way when we get there? I know it's a little premature, but my civil engineer background is making me
It's a very valid point, and as you were on the standing committee as well for Primrose Park, we went through some of that process as well, and we will go through that exercise as well in the development and the construction phasing and implementation as well.
Well, and also related to that is the time of the year. Live Oak Park is over in the corner, and that really bothers anything. Everything else can take place at the park that usually does. Of course, you wouldn't have construction during the summer at Temple City Park because we have the summer concerts going on.
Yeah.
So that has to be taken into account too, I think.
yeah, that's a really
Thank you
good
for bringing that up, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, but besides that, I'm pretty confident. I mean, all the information before us, I think I feel the same confidence that Director Matsumoto has expressed in SWA's abilities, and certainly looking forward to seeing their work and also working with them as part of the standing committee.
Tom, I would think you'd have some concerns about the Little League field.
No, not really. That's why I'm saying it, because the Little League field's
This way,
way on the other side.
Yeah.
I think, to William's point, if, all things being considered equal, if we can get maybe started on this one ahead of the other one because of these kind of factors, then that would be something we would want to look at. It doesn't really matter which one's done first, I don't think, as long as they're done. But yeah, I don't, that's why I'm saying I think the one in Live Oak Park is so separated from everything else at that park and what we use it for. It shouldn't be a problem at all from a standpoint of time.
I would think Live Oak Park's renovation is more open-ended in terms of scheduling.
Yeah.
We have a lot more, I think, ability to renovate that throughout the year. Temple City Park, there is distinct timelines where it would not make sense to start construction. So we can be intentional and thoughtful about the scheduling to take that into consideration where we're not delaying both projects because of scheduling conflicts.
We were talking about old stuff like the rocket ship. Remember the little pool we had at Live Oak Park? I hope people aren't asking for that to come back.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that. Jerry remembers that one, didn't Jerry? Yeah. Some nostalgia is good, some isn't. So a little bit of mix between the two probably be good. So, thank you.
Okay, so do we need a motion here to continue to, it says here February 21st?
Mayor Sternquist, the recommendation is to award the consultant services contract with SWA, authorize me, the city manager, to execute the contract, and approved to form by city attorney.
Wait, are you making the motion?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, because he was about ready to.
Sorry.
Yeah. Mayor Sternquist, if I may.
Okay.
I'll move that we award the consultant services contract to SWA Landscape Architects for the playground renovations at Live Oak Park and Temple City Park, and authorize the city manager to enter into a contract once reviewed and approved by the city attorney, and also to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $236,000 from the ARPA funds, Fund 14, and to find that the playground renovation project is not subject to CEQA review pursuant to 15302B, which exempts it from CEQA review that replace an existing structure with a new structure that is substantially the same size, purpose, and capacity, and that this agenda item meets the criteria for this exemption because the playground structure will replace the same existing feature at Live Oak Park and Temple City Park.
Second.
Okay, any objections? All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Viscara?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes. I guess that February 21st date was from the prior thing. If I could just ask Peggy, just for my own sake, the back-to-back one, I take them apart, it doesn't work. So I need them like on the separate pages, but thank you.
We'll fix that, Mayor.
Okay. All right. So now that they're all mixed up again, we are.
Item 11.
Thank
Help
you.
her out, will you?
11.
I can't take them apart because it's. All right. Update from our city manager.
No update tonight, Mayor Sternquist. Thank you.
Okay, update from our city attorney.
Sure, a brief update. The Mayor Pro Tem had asked me to come back with an update on Assembly Bill 2097. Assembly Bill 2097 is another legislative action to limit the amount of parking in new developments. In particular, it eliminates minimum parking requirements on development projects within a half-mile of a major transit stop, with some minor exceptions that would be very hard to meet. The key is, what is a major transit stop? It's an existing rail or bus rapid transit station, a ferry terminal, a major transit stop in the regional transportation plan, or the intersection of two or more major bus routes with a frequency of service interval of 15 minutes or less. I worked with Director Reimers, who was able to research bus lines. We don't have any buses coming through Temple City with a headway of less than 19 minutes. So we currently don't have that intersection of two or more major bus routes. The existing rail or bus rapid transit station, that's the station down in El Monte, not anything that we have here, or would be the Gold Line up at Madre and the 210 freeway. So we currently are not planning for AB 2097 minimum parking situations. Director Reimers told me that he is looking at it. If bus line 266 down Rosemead Boulevard and bus line 78 on Las Tunas were to go from 20 minutes down to 15-minute headway, then that intersection would be one that we would have to look at. But for the time being, this doesn't apply to us. So just a little update. Yes, sir.
What does headway mean?
I'm sorry, sir. Headway means, and I had to learn that too. I had to ask Director Reimers, the interval between buses. So at morning and evening rush hour, you look at how frequently do they come, and if it's 15 minutes or less in between scheduled stops, then you might get triggered here. We're at minimum, or we are at minimum 20 minutes during those rush hours, longer the rest of the day. So as of right now, we're okay.
We're safe.
Yes, sir.
If I could just ask one quick question. So 15 minutes is the threshold under the legislature?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in other words, we would only be impacted if Metro suddenly decided to make
Right.
more frequent stops.
Right.
Okay.
And the ones that are most likely would be the Rosemead Boulevard and Las Tunas. We obviously don't have to worry. Rosemead and Valley, I don't think, I think we're more than a half-mile north of Valley, so I think we'd be okay there. The Temple City and Las Tunas routes, where those intersect, the Temple City route just isn't that busy. Rosemead's the one that we would be most looking at, because if that one were to shrink its time interval, then it's likely that ridership is up enough that Las Tunas would also be getting close.
Great. Thank you.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate it.
And I just heard from being on the Metro meeting yesterday that ridership is at 68% now. So it is climbing in the Los Angeles area with Metro. So better, still not great, but much better.
68% of what it was like pre-COVID or something?
Pre-COVID, prior to the pandemic. All right. Item 13, council reports regarding ad hoc or standing committee meetings. Do we have any?
Yes, Mayor Sternquist. Councilmember Chavez and I are, as part of the standing committee with the Temple City Unified School District, we did meet with them on Thursday, January 19th. And there was a lot of items covered. I think the big update from the school was the big science Olympiad that they had on January 28th. And fortunately, I wasn't in attendance. I don't know if any of us actually went, but I did see a lot of the pictures and videos, and looked like a pretty big event. With I know we had over 88 schools in attendance. As part of planning for that, I just want to say appreciate Mr. Brian Cook and Mr. Brian Arizumi for working to help alleviate some of the parking and traffic concerns that the school district brought up. But I think one of the nice things about this standing committee is we get to be very transparent with each other about the needs and try to identify and solve those issues where we can. So thank you, Brian and Brian. Let's see, what was the other one? We did mention that some of the topics that we would like to discuss for future meetings, we're looking at programs to increase enrollment and also a discussion on lingering challenges of COVID for both agencies. This is a good kind of way to share information and offer kind of mutual assistance where it makes sense. And also, we did discuss from the city side, we did provide an update on emergency preparedness and also making some progress on bringing back the joint use facilities agreement, which we were very happy to hear from the superintendent, Dr. Kuna, that we are on the same page on that issue. So I think that certainly helps us greatly from the city side, because I know Director Matsumoto is trying to look at bringing back a lot of the programmings that we had pre-COVID. So it was a very productive meeting, and we did schedule the next joint meeting for April 27th. Councilmember Chavez, was there anything you'd like to fill in?
No, you did a great job. Thank you. Just want to add that I think Temple City High School finished 6th out of 88. Wow. That's pretty good.
That's very good.
Correct. I don't know. Jerry, who was first? Do you remember? No. No. You were frozen by that time? Yes. It was a long night. Late into the evening, apparently.
Increasing enrollment, why would that be an issue?
Well, they're always looking for ways to increase their enrollment. Remember, their enrollment has kind of fluctuated.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so overall, what we've heard from not just the Temple City Unified School District, but the trends for a lot of school districts in our area is a decline in enrollment. And of course, we know the enrollment is tied to the funding, the school funding.
Yeah, it is down.
Does that have something to do with fewer, young people coming with kids?
I think that might be one factor. Families' affordability to live here in Temple City, of course, is one factor. But I'm sure they would tell you that, obviously lingering effects from COVID. Some stayed home, never came back. Some are being homeschooled. Private schools getting more and more popular. So I'm sure there's a number of factors, but those are the kind of dialogue that we want to open up to see, is there somewhere there that we can assist in with that? Because obviously, we have a great school system here in Temple City. We're very proud of it. And we used to always brag that one of the reasons people moved to Temple City was because of the schools. Yeah. But, that's becoming a little more difficult these days. So we just thought maybe there, with some brainstorming, maybe there's something we could do to look into that or help with that. So that's all.
I thought we were always very protective of not letting outside folks come in.
Well, they are, I guess they have their own rules and regulations regarding who can attend their schools, but, I'm not saying we're going to change any of those rules, but, we'll see what we can do.
And one more thing, we did, I know Mr. Cook also gave an update on some of the mixed-use developments that we have going on, and it would be of interest to the school district to know that, because that's obviously more residential units that are potentially being constructed, some within the school district boundaries. So anytime you're increasing potential units, you have the potential of more families moving in. So it's just, I think they appreciated knowing sort of what's going on, and whether it has a direct impact or not remains to be seen. It's just good information sharing. I think I speak for Councilmember Chavez also on this. I think we really appreciate just having the platform for an open dialogue with the school district and kind of fostering that relationship moving forward. I think it's just to the mutual benefit of all of our constituents.
Can I ask that at the April 27th meeting that you bring up with the school district, the school resource officer again? I know the superintendent said that this was after the meeting ended, that he was hoping that the county, the city, and the school district could partner together to possibly fund that. I did listen in yesterday. Our Senator Portantino had a town hall meeting on gun violence, and there were some great speakers, but they talked about the Monterey Park incident and Uvalde and the things that have happened in schools, and that, how when we were young, you used to, the things that we worry about dropping off our kids, which were much different than now. You worry, are you going to be able to pick them up, and are they going to be safe? But the bottom line was that Senator Portantino said that he wanted to have some solutions to this problem, and he wanted communities to put their heads together and figure out ways that he could support. And one of the things that I heard over and over again from the mental health providers that were on there, the security people that were on the town hall, the experts on the panel, it all came back to making sure that local communities were safe and doing everything that they could to help. And most of the discussion was on mental health issues and how it really starts in the schools, because it's almost like the last place where junior high and high school, where someone who is in a form of authority or can single something out that's a problem has the ability to do so before it gets to the point where there is an adult who has a mental health issue that just goes off the deep end and commits a mass murder. So one of the things that they did not discuss with the senator was, well, how do we solve that problem in schools? And I see the resource officer as a big starting point, at least to help. So because of his promotion, I will, for this town hall yesterday to encourage people to reach out to him, I reached out to his office and I set an appointment with him, and I'm going to ask him if he would be a partner with us and provide some funding also, because they do have discretionary funds.
Well, that's what it always comes down to. Have him send money and we'll have all the officers there we possibly can.
Exactly.
But
But the thing is, if you don't use the leverage from, you're going to hold a town hall meeting, you're going to say we need solutions. The bottom line is we all need funding for these things. And that funding doesn't go just to support other candidates who are running for assembly or,
But see, the problem with that is there's another argument to that, and there are school districts, especially LA City, which is one of our biggest school districts, whose parents do not want a resource officer on campus for any number of reasons. So you've got competing arguments there.
But I think it was quite clear in our city that the superintendent said that it was something he thought was needed.
They're in favor of it. There's no
So,
question of it.
I can't worry about Los Angeles, but I am going to worry about Temple City.
Well, it's not so much the city, a lot of it's coming from the parents as well, and I don't know that, I guess Dr. Kuna, I don't know whether he's gone out to his parents to see, are they in favor of something like that or not. I'm assuming he has, or maybe he will get around to that. But that is an issue, and it's not just a simple matter of just saying, okay, let's put a police officer on campus, and that's going to solve all the problems. Because I think there's more to it than that.
Right. But I think at least since I know when I had mentioned to Brian also said, oh, that's a $250,000 or $300,000. That's a lot of money for just the city to incur. But if we had partnerships where the school district, the county, Catherine Barger's gave discretionary fair funds.
Is she still our supervisor?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it would be a discussion to have to see what the need would be in April, if you can open up those discussions and see what outreach he's done or can do. At least by then I'd have some idea from Senator's office as to what he could possibly give if we decided to go down that route.
Yeah, and I think you did mention that point at our last sheriff's meeting.
Yes.
As well. So we could certainly keep it on as an item for the April 27th. But I think my expectation is that between our city manager Brian Cook and Dr. Kuna, they would be having that conversation even before April 27th. So.
And Sheriff Luna was on that call also, and it was something he also had brought up, but it was basically was a call out to local municipalities to do more because they can't protect everybody. I mean, it's hard enough doing what we do than to, take on the role of being the security agents also, but if there's anything we could do to help with our children and mental health, I think it's important. Okay?
FYI, did you know that there was an active shooter call to Duarte this morning?
I heard that on the news.
He was just telling me about it, yeah.
Was
It was false. Some kid, I suppose, called it,
goodness.
who didn't do his homework.
All right, so how about the next item, which is council items separate from the city manager's regular agenda? Anybody? William?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Sternquist. I just want to take this moment to a special shout out to our Parks and Rec, as well as the Temple City Chinese American Association for what appeared to me to be a very successful Lunar New Year celebration. And thank you for all the dignitaries who showed up to attend, including our Congresswoman, our Assembly member, and also a representative from Senator Portantino's office. The feedback I got was largely positive. I think for those who have attended previous celebrations, the one that stood out, and I got a lot of comments about this, was the food. They didn't realize we had so much food. I remember, I think many years ago when we first did the food thing, we ran out, right? Mm-hmm. And that was like a lessons learned, right? You really don't want to run out of food. So I appreciate whoever made that decision to keep it well stocked. Kudos. I think that was a big hit. Also, the lion dancers were fantastic. The feedback I got from, maybe I shouldn't say this about San Gabriel, but some of my friends and colleagues who came from the San Gabriel one and said, hey, your line dancers here were more entertaining. Don't worry, I'll tell my colleagues in San Gabriel that they're going to give me a hard time.
And that was a studio in El Monte, right? Or
I don't recall.
I took his
Adam, do you remember who the line dancers were?
Yeah, they're the San Gabriel Valley Chinese Cultural Association. I don't recall their location of where they're based, but they're the San Gabriel Valley.
Okay. Yeah. And what I appreciate a lot, especially from parents with young kids, was the line dancers actually interacting with the kids, letting them come up close, touch them. I think a lot of parents really appreciated that. In our experience and in my experience, having attended a lot of Lunar New Year celebrations since being on city council, usually the line dancers are on a stage or in a place where the audience can't really interact with them. You know, it's like a performance, and then they're off the stage and they're gone. And
you-
here I felt like they were here with the crowd, which was really much appreciated.
Did you also notice that a lot of the dancers themselves were female?
Actually, I did
Yeah.
not observe
I
that.
thought that
no.
was neat.
Oh, okay.
That's not too traditional, I don't think.
I want to say that's more rare. I think
Yeah.
usually most dancers are male, but good observation.
So I thought it was a neat thing.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you, and I already told Adam and Lucy. I said, hey, can we book these same folks for next year's line dance? If it's not too soon, they're pretty good. Pretty good. Same with the dragon dance as well. So thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Anyone else? Tom?
No.
Andrew?
No, I was going to make similar comments. I really enjoyed it.
I just want to thank staff, Peggy, everyone who had something to do with the Mayor's Roundtable. Thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate your time, and even if you needed to leave, just the fact that you came out and were present for a bit, I really appreciate it. We learned some really valuable things, and thank you, Brian, and Ileana for working on that so diligently. There was one other thing I wanted to share. Jing sent me opportunities for us in March, and I will send that to Brian to send out to you some dates if you would like to come and read at the library to the kids, as we did one time before. So that's an opportunity that will be coming out. And I hope everyone got an email from Dawn saying that you're all welcome to ride in the parade for the Camellia Festival as mayors. So I hope everyone will take them up on that.
As long as they're not golf carts.
How about a scooter?
Depends.
So I'm
Should do
excited
it on
about that. We
horseback.
all get to be in
That'd
that
be
together.
nice.
So I'm very happy about that. And I
Why don't we
don't,
just get one big car for the whole council?
we can do the Foothill minibus if you'd
There
like.
you go, why not?
Oh,
Would
that'd
you
be
like
good.
that?
I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind.
Okay. So the bus is in the parade, so I'll ask them if we could do that. Okay. Let's see if it's not already booked for somebody else. But, okay. And we are going to move to item 15, recess to our successor agency, to the Temple City Community Development Agency meeting. Peggy, may we have a roll call?
Agency Member Chavez.
Here,
Agency Member Vizcarra.
Here?
Vice Chair Mann.
Here.
Chair Sternquist.
Here. Okay, item 3, consent calendar.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any objections? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Agency Member Chavez.
yes.
Agency Member Vizcarra.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mann.
Yes.
Chair Sternquist.
Yes. Okay, item 4, unfinished business, none. New business, none. Communications, none. I'm going to open up public comment. Anyone? Close public comment. Item 8, update from Executive Director and Agency Council. None. Matters from agency members? Okay, adjourn this meeting. We move back to our regular meeting. Item 16, additional public comments on items not listed on the agenda. Any? Okay. We move to item 17. Our next city council meeting is February 21st, 2023 at 7:30, and we are adjourned.